Well, with prices on computers being off the charts, truly, we're talking hundreds of percentage increase in prices. You want to get into a computer? Well, there is actually solutions. And that solution is potentially getting yourself something like this, a mini PC. If you don't need crazy levels of power, or you don't need a big, massive gaming rig, don't get gaslit necessarily into thinking that you need to get yourself a massive gaming PC and pay a huge premium for every little part in there. This is one right here. We can see the specs here, the mini PC. This is KAMRUI, by the way. I didn't say that. KAMRUI is a brand, makes mini PCs. I've reviewed some of them before, and they're more budget friendly. The name is mini PC, but it's a KAMRUI mini PC Hyper H2. And this one's in silver, whatever, US. RAM, SSD. RAM and SSDs are expensive. I think that you guys should support mini PC companies. Mini PC companies are at the highest risk, in my opinion, and probably their opinion, are at a high risk of vanishing. With high prices going up, consumers unable to buy things, people may just be like, you know what, I'm not going to buy anything. Right? Or just put out the money to support some company that's, gouging prices. These guys are already operating on a razor thin edge, right? Like they're trying to get us products at very competitive prices, and let's be honest, they're very competitive prices, despite the fact that they have to buy the components inside. They have to source the RAM, they have to source the storage themselves, they have to deal with that cost. So they're the ones who are also going to feel this really bad, and when it comes down to it, a lot of these companies are going to be at risk. So I think we should be supporting companies like this who have always been offering good value, and even now are still offering pretty damn good value. Anyways, so this is the KAMRUI. It's not a monster by any means in terms of the specs inside. It's got good weight to it, lots of cooling for what it does offer, however. So I suspect this thing's going to run pretty well. The specs are pretty respectable. That sounds weird. H2. 32 gigabytes, like I said, 1 terabyte, whatever. 14450HX, so it is going to be a higher wattage CPU variant. I don't expect it's going to run at full peak all the time, just based on cooling, but it does have a big fan in there. I can feel it, so that's good. Yeah, so you can see there, nice clean little look there. It'll look nice up on the desk there. Big vent out the side there, big vent out the side there, so we should get good cooling. Big vent out the side there, so this thing's going to be pushing mad air, which is good. On the front there, USB-C to USB-A, audio power. HDMI display port. That's the Ethernet. You don't want to hook the thing up when you're installing Windows, so just you can do it after, plug it in. 4 more USB-A, so lots of ports there. Nice. That's plastic, by the way, to keep the weight down and cost, so that's nice, but that's metal. So that's a big metal tray there. That's a nice piece of metal there. So that's going to work as a giant heatsink, right? So that's going to sit on top of the RAM and SSDs, and it's just a big, massive plastic heatsink, right? Just the heat will soak into this thing and it'll get removed that way. So we can see that in there. So this is the user accessible panel. eKit store. It's a Huawei. Wow, I've never seen a Huawei. I've never seen a Huawei NVMe in my life. That's fascinating. Well, there you go. It's the first time for everything, and it's in this one. That's cool. You do have your Wi-Fi under there, upgradable as well. CMOS battery, easily accessible. Second NVMe slot there. So this thing's easy to upgrade. And then you have your 2 RAM sticks there. Large, there it is, vent 1, vent 2, large cooling down there. This thing's going to be pushing a lot of air. I don't suspect any heat issues on this thing. Okay, just some real quick benchmarks. The included SSD that Huawei, it's super fast. So Gen 4, upper tier Gen 4, very fast. That's good, right? It ran cool throughout the test. No problems. Love to see that. This is the front NVMe. Front SSD, which happens to have an NVMe hooked up to it right here, and it's fast, right? 10 gigabit per second, so that's good for NVMe enclosures that aren't Thunderbolt 5, basically, so that's very good. Thunderbolt 4, so that's good. You can run games off of that, you can run videos, that kind of stuff off of that, and the Wi-Fi, it's nothing special. It's also a Saturday here during peak hours, and I do not have good Wi-Fi where I'm at right now, but where you can see here, we get reasonable. It's reasonable. Okay, so let's come in here now and we will run some Cinebench. So let's check idle. I mean, kind of idle. I filmed this out of order, but I did a little bit of gaming already. And yeah, we're idling sub 10. It's pretty standard for an HX processor. Temperatures are pretty low considering we just came out of a game. 50, below 50, basically. When you do stuff, like when you're loading up software and doing stuff like that and gaming, there is sound, but it's like pretty quiet, but the idle is completely silent. Immediate wattage dump, 65. Yeah, okay, that's what I expected. It's, you know, this chip in theory, if you put this in a big gaming PC or something like that, it can have a larger wattage, but then you're just producing heat and noise, and you don't get much. Like there's a certain threshold of, you know, adding more power, adding more watts adds more performance, and then eventually it does start to taper off. So you get to the point, it's like, you know, how much more watts do we want to add, and how much performance are we getting out of that versus how much noise and thermals. So here under full load, we'll watch if this goes up, but I mean, we're sitting at 70-ish degrees, which is nothing for this chip. This is 100 watt. You can get 100 degrees on this chip here, no problem. At 65 watts, it's very respectable and pretty quiet. Yeah, it's like 40 dB. And the other thing is, this is working as a noise refraction because it's like a sloped monitor. If I actually put this under here, you know, and pushed it back, or put it off to the side, it would be even quieter. It's just that this is literally a curved monitor, so the sound is coming up, bouncing off and coming back. So I don't normally have my mini PC right there. I'd have it off to the side, which would actually reduce the noise even further. On the back of a monitor, you wouldn't even hear this thing. It would be like silent. So that's good. Anyways, so yeah, for an i5 13,000, it's respectable. For a 65 watt i5, there's no problems there whatsoever. Again, it's not a 14900, right? It's not a HX370 or something like that. Those chips cost, like those systems would cost 5 times as much or 4 times as much or something like that, depending on what they are, at least twice as much for something like that. And you know, this is the totally acceptable performance. I'll show you a little bit of video editing and show you how good the CPU is here for stuff like that. So we have a 1 gigabyte, a little over 1 gigabyte file. Throw that in there, and we'll just show kind of how quickly it's processed. So whatever. So it's a 26-minute 4K 60 video. Throw that in there. Okay. And it's good. Now we can scrub through. Right, we're already able to play without any issues. We're good. All right, we can come in here. Just take a quick look here. CPU, I mean, it's not really doing anything. It's just kind of hanging out now, right? It's quick enough, right? It's a 10-core. It's a mix of E cores and P cores, but it'll be just fine. And you can do, like, I mean, the video, or I didn't even notice, but at some point the audio was fully processed, like processed to the point where everything is going to be incredibly snappy, right? You're able to, you know, move things around quickly. You're not going to have any issues over here. It's going to be nice and quick for video editing type tasks, right? Let's go like that there. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be totally fine. Things like this that are very CPU heavy are going to be very quick. Video editing, if you do a lot of coding, that kind of stuff, anything that's very CPU heavy, I mean, it's a powerful CPU, right? It'll get the job done. It'll be non-problematic for such things. And then of course, video editing or video export, right? Like it's not the most powerful iGPU, but you know, editing or exporting, sorry, uses a combination of CPU and GPU, and it's not a bad GPU by any means. And the other thing to consider here is that Intel actually excels quite a bit when it comes to video editing, video rendering. Quick, so we'll come in here, we'll actually do a 4K 60 export. We will do HEVC, which is harder to do, essentially, put it that way. It's more compressed, so it'll actually be slower, but we'll come in here. Just a quick little thing, like it's a little over a minute here, and we'll just kind of show it, it'll just rip through. I actually don't know how long it'll take. It's been quite some time, right? Like just a few seconds, right? Now, this is not the longest video. So, you know, if it takes 30 seconds to export or something, or 45 seconds to export, then you can just extrapolate that out to, you know, like a 1-hour video or something like that. Yes, it's not going to rival if you have like a 5090 or something like that. That doesn't even make sense, but it's still going to be pretty quick. Intel QuickSync video encoding is very fast, right? Even when a non-heavy GPU system, right? It uses that iGPU. Yes, it's not the most powerful iGPU, as I said, but it's still fine, honestly, for this type of stuff. If you need something that's more powerful for video editing, like, you know, heavy video editing rig and you're professional, yeah, you're probably going to get yourself you're going to build a gaming desktop type thing or productivity system, but it's also going to cost you, you know, 5 times as much, and it's going to take up 10 times as much space, or 20 times or 30 times as much space, right? So it's, what are we looking at here? Probably about a minute or so to export that. So yeah, it's basically a 1-to-1. So it's pretty, like if you're doing like a 20-minute, like how long is the average YouTube video? I think they're about 13 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that's the average. So it'll take you 12 to 13 minutes to export a 4K 60 video. So here's one thing you can do, and that is game. Now, it's not a gaming PC per se, or mini PC. It doesn't have the most powerful iGPU by any means. You know, the Intel Xe graphics in here, you can still play like 99.9999% of games on PC, but you're not going to be playing, you know, modern 2023 titles. They're AAA titles. You can play, you know, indie titles. They'll fly on this thing. You'll be able to play less demanding titles, you know, RPG, some of those RPGs and stuff like that. They'll fly on this thing. You'll be able to play games from before 2020, like those older games that are, you know, that heavier demand. They'll be okay. But one thing where a very powerful CPU excels is emulation. Emulation, there are a few cases where you do need a powerful GPU for emulation, you know, some of the really most modern systems. But generally speaking, you don't need a powerful GPU, but you do need a very, very powerful CPU, because the emulation is being run through the CPU, like emulation layers and that kind of stuff. So it is important to have a powerful CPU. Ooh. Oh. Anyways, so it's going to run really well, right? You're going to be able to play tons and tons and tons of games. I think we can wrap it up, honestly. This is the KAMRUI. It's not my first rodeo with them. I bought a couple, they've sent a couple. I actually have another one that I'm going to be working on as well. This one here is the i5 14th gen model here, and it's good. Honestly, it runs very quiet. That whole time we've been doing this video editing, it's nice and quiet, even though it's right in front of me. It's sleek. I mean, it looks pretty nice too. It's not too flashy. Not totally boring, but it's not, you know, too flashy. It's just got a little bit of that like brass kind of look to it. And I mean, these days, you guys know how much things cost. You guys know how much mini PCs cost. They are crazy expensive, right? Crazy, crazy, crazy expensive. It's going to cost you a fortune to get into, you know, building a big, large PC. RAM is expensive. Everything's expensive. This is a good way to get into a very capable mini PC, very, very capable mini PC without breaking the budget. And potentially you don't need, like, don't get gaslit into saying, oh, you need to get, you know, the newest Panther Lake CPU, iGPU, that kind of stuff, and you know, it's going to cost you $2,000 or something like that. That's great, that's fantastic, you know, but it's a totally different market segment. Not everyone is in the same market segment. That's something to be aware of. It's easy to get gaslit and to think, you know, you have to buy into the most powerful of everything, but don't get gaslit. Sometimes the best pick for you is one that is good quality, good performance, but also doesn't break the bank.